And the People's Democratic Party has confirmed the payment of money to some members of its National Working Committee, NWC members. The party, however, says it was not a bribe to the members. Members, in letters to the national chairman, Iyocha Ayu, returned different sums ranging from 28 million naira to 36 million naira. They say it became necessary to return the money after a backlash from the media accusing them of taking bribes. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Ologun Agba, has described the bribery allegations as strange and unfounded motives. According to him, the money, he said, was housing allowance duly approved and paid to NWC members and staff of the party.
And to help us get clarity on these issues, the National Director of Administration at the National Headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, that's Gurama Bawa, joins us now in the studio. Well, Mr. Bawa, thank you so much for being here. And of course, we've seen the MPS, Publicity Secretary, try to really lay bare what's really transpired. But the question that Nigerians are asking is this a standard practice of the party where monies are sent into the accounts of members of the National Working Committee without a meeting to really inform them what the money is meant for?
Thank you for having me. Viewers, good evening. Actually, the entire NWC members are aware it's a usual practice. Since the beginning of this party, NWC members are normally given housing allowances and the staff, because NWC members actually don't have salaries. They only get the housing allowance from the party, and normally it's being paid to them at the beginning of their tenure, and it's for 4 years. But maybe due to paucity of funds, that's why these people were only paid for 2 years. The staff also were paid. I benefited as a staff. And the staff were paid in July this year, while the NWC members were paid on 9th of September this year. And the practice is normally, the memo is normally written to National Working Committee for approval. I participated in drafting that memo based on the assumption manual of the party, which allows NWC members and staff to be paid housing allowance. I participated along with the Director of Finance in preparing the memo. The memo was deliberated by the National Working Committee on the 22nd of June at its 557 meeting, and thereafter approval was given to pay the money. The chairman said staff should be paid first, and that's why staff were paid in July, and the NWC members were actually paid in September. And these payments normally carry along with it details. If you check the accounts of any NWC member, it will show you that the money is meant for housing allowance, specifically pointed out in the payment that was made. That is just a fact, nothing more. The previous NWC members were used to collect this money. In fact, during the Babanga era, I remember vividly well, at the beginning they collected all their 4 years housing allowance, all. So it's a normal practice.
Isn't it, Gurama, isn't it very ridiculous, as some Nigerians are finding it, that you pay people who have mansions in their areas or in their milieus? Take, for example, the National Vice Chairman South. He's by all means not a poor man. What are you paying him housing allowance for? Is he domiciled in Abuja that you're paying him housing allowance? Has he been homeless before? Those are the questions Nigerians are asking you.
No, the issue is each NWC member, whether you have your house in Ibadan or you have your house in Lagos, once you've come to Abuja, you are entitled. It's an entitlement. And it's not the amount paid, it's not only for the NWC members, included those of their own staff. Look at the national chairman. He has 10 staff. So the amount of money is paid along with those of their own staff. The deputy chairman have 6 staff, while the national secretary has 7 staff. Other NWC members have 4 staff. Some of these staff are at the management level. So the amount of money that was paid included those of their personal staff that are with them.
This is the beginning of how governments, you know, are bloating and the rest. What are they doing with such a humongous staff and the rest? And first, the monies, sorry, Amaka, the monies you said were paid as housing allowance is not inclusive of the staff allowances.
No, the staff are their own personal staff, not the staff of the National Secretariat. There are 2 different staff.
Right.
We have staff of the National Secretariat, that's people like myself, and they have their own personal staff that they come along with.
At the end of the day, this is supposed to be the business of the party and the administration of the party.
Sure.
But the reason why we're having someone like you, who normally you would not be having this interview with us, because you're in charge of administration and administering the PDP from the national headquarters. This is supposed to be your personal business. But the question that Nigerians are asking, especially looking at the caliber of people who had this monies returned, is the fact that we know that they are in the same faction of those who are calling for the removal of the chairman of the party, Iyoche Ayu. So the timing of this, it's quite curious. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I'm surprised and also not surprised. I am surprised because I never expected they will use this as a means of actually demarketing the party, because this is an entitlement which they know they have gotten. And this payment was made on the 9th of September, coming 20 days after to say that you're not aware of the payment, leaves much to be desired. So definitely there is this ulterior motive in bringing up this issue to the public. As far as we are concerned, it's a legitimate payment that was made to them.
So what's that ulterior motive you talk about? You said there is some ulterior motive.
Yeah,
Can you enlighten us on
just as you rightly pointed out, after the convention, there has been some issue of some people that lost, and they are not happy or comfortable about how they lost, and therefore they've been calling on the removal of the national chairman. So these are some of the things that are playing out.
And it's obvious that there isn't any headway, you know, even from your administrative end, that there is going to be some settlement anytime soon.
Well, of course, this is you frankly heard what the chairman of the Board of Trustees said, so which is the conscience of the party. They are not putting necessary effort.
Have you been reading the tweets from the Southeast and how it's been described, the chairman Board of Trustees?
Well, these are social media issues, but when you come to the grassroots, it's a different matter altogether.
Right. At the end of the day, this is bad publicity for the PDP. You're looking to, you know, unseat the APC come 2023, which kicked you out of office back in 2015. But this bad publicity, are you not worried about its implications on the party and its fortunes as we look forward to the general election?
That is the more reason why efforts are now being put in place to ensure that these issues are resolved as early as possible, so that we can forge ahead with our campaigns. Because I think Nigerians will not be looking at this as a major issue. Rather, Nigerians are more concerned about the security, the economy that has fallen apart, education that has gone back. I think this is what Nigerians are more concerned than the issue of this party problems, which also APC has equally the same problem. But I think Nigerians are more concerned about their security, the economy, and corruption, which certainly PDP is going to address very, very well.
And official flag off of your campaign is not really being announced. How soon is that going to come? Because what we're just saying is
that's not within my poverty to talk about, because that is the issue of the party.
We would have to say thank you to our guest, of course, right now, Christian.
All right.
Gurama Bawa, of course, the National Director of Administration at the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, laying to bear, you know, the fact that that monies that were returned was meant for housing allowance and not bribes.
It's time for a short break, and when we return, we'll have more stories. Stay with us.